What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be taking a look at one of my favorite pedals, and it's one that I actually think is kind of slept on. I don't typically love the style of pedal where the builder tries to go after the vibe of plugging directly into a desk input, but this particular pedal has some really unique sound qualities, drive qualities, and just a really nice character to it that I haven't been able to get away from for a couple years now. A lot of you guys might be familiar with the Hudson Broadcast pedal. It's been around for maybe a decade. Today we're actually looking at the AP version of that. So this is a silicon version of that Broadcast with maybe a couple other tweaks as well. I'm a huge Ariel Posen fan. I play nothing like him, but I really like how this pedal has given me some of those feels that he gets from his sounds while being able to mix that in with my overall sound too. So today, for reference, I'm going to be playing my Gretsch Power Jet with the TV Jones original pickups in it, going through my entire pedal board into two Tonexes at the end. Both of those captures are going to be from Tone Shepherd. On the right, you're going to hear his Prosonic capture. On the left, you're going to hear his AC30. So without further ado, here's the Broadcast AP. All right, so let's go ahead and dive in. Again, I'm playing my Power Jet, and I wanted to mention too that I am running this Broadcast pedal at 18 volts. I just think it really opens up and kind of adds the punch that I look for. So we'll work through some dry tones first and then add in some wet effects in a bit to see how it interacts with those. But first, here's clean, just with the compressor on. All right, and here's where I would usually start on the AP. Awesome. So that's generally what the pedal sounds like. It has a really straightforward sound, but if the sound driver kind of makes things a little bit more refined and present, I think the really cool thing about the AP is that it almost spreads things out horizontally. So it gets a little bit two-dimensional and splatty. Obviously, you can tighten that up. You can run a little bit less level so you're not pushing the amps as much, and you can run it just about clean to where it's not adding that much character to it anyway. But I kind of like running it at this more open, really getting the amp going setting. Depending on what guitar I'm using too, I might run this high cut switch up. I don't know the exact value that cuts, but it just cleans up some of that splatty low end. There might be cases where you want that. There might be cases where you want things a little bit tighter too. So if I'm running humbuckers, I might have that on the whole set. If I'm running single coil guitars, I probably leave that toggled down just to allow all those lows to pass through. But that's the dry tone with this pedal. Let's go ahead and add a little bit of wet effects onto the end of this to see how it interacts. So we'll take that off real quick. Here's what's going on in the background. Cool. So what I'm hearing there is just filling the tone out, giving it some of that character. One thing I really do when I'm running either preamp pedals or overdrive pedals, I like to see how the open strings balance with the tension of like a fretted note. And then notes that are close together, how those interact too. Do you kind of lose that definition, or is that retained and there's just some really cool clarity and character there too? So let me turn the wet effects off and we'll work through the gain range. Obviously pretty simple pedal, only 2 knobs and a low cut switch, but we'll see everything that this pedal can do. All right, so here's just the compression on. And all the way clean for the AP. So pretty clean. Let's open that up again, maybe 9 o'clock. Cool, so you really start to hear that weight come in. Let's roll it up to about 10, 11 o'clock. We're gonna roll the volume back just to compensate. So now you really start to hear kind of the character of this pedal coming into play. And that's sort of the two-dimensional nature that I mean about it. It's not really rounding things out. It's kind of punching the front of the amp almost in like a mixing desk kind of way, goosing the preamp or the input on one of those. It's kind of going horizontal more than it's making things nice and round. And obviously that's not a sound that you're going to use for everything, but I feel like that actually goes in the opposite direction of a lot of the pedals I like. So when I use this, it gives the whole rest of my board a really cool dimension that I can't get out of, say, just like a clean boost or something like that. So let's wind this up to maybe 1 or 2 o'clock, and hopefully the volume's okay. Cool, let's actually see how well this reacts to cleaning my volume knob up. So here's all the way open. And now let's roll it to maybe 5 or 6. So again, at this gain range, that actually responded pretty well, but we're starting to get a little of those, we're starting to get a lot of those artifacts in between the notes, which is something I look out for. Usually I wouldn't run this pedal this wide open. I like to have a little bit more headroom, but even in the lower gain ranges on this pedal, you can start to get the nature of it. And I really like that balance of where it lives. So let's open this up just about all the way and we'll kind of get into crazy fuzz land. cool. So you can get all of your fun like garage rock riffs and all that kind of thing. It's really cool that this pedal opens up that much. Even though it's just a couple controls, the versatility of this pedal really kind of blew my mind the first time I played with it and really started opening it up. So let's go back to like a mid-range gain and work and see what that low cut switch does. Let's add the lows back in. And then cut them back out. So if you hear that, you're almost like, okay, did the pedal actually get brighter? And really all it's doing is it's kind of taking out that woolly low end that starts to show up as you open the gain. But really that just gives you so much of that like sizzle and clarity back. So sometimes I'll just leave this on an entire set and forget that I don't have all the lows in, and it feels perfect and sits well with the keys, sits well with the bass and other guitars too. So really love that switch. If I'm doing more of like a solo guitar thing, I might choose to leave it all the way open, but you really can't go wrong either way. All right, so I've got it back in my kind of usual starting point. So let's add in some wet effects and just see what this feels like. Let's take those lows out and see what that does to the tone. All right, let's open up the gain a little bit. Awesome. Well, I hope this shows kind of what this pedal is capable of. To me, it's something that even when I think I might find something that replaces it, it always finds its way back on the board. And paired with the sound driver right next to it, it just gives me a different flavor of how I can hit the rest of my board. So if I'm feeling something that's really punchy and kind of is really wanting to hit the front of the amps, I'll probably kick on the AP and honestly just leave it, and it makes everything else sound great. So thanks for checking out this video. Lots more of these to come. We'll catch you in the next one.